All right, close your eyes for a second. Imagine a car that sounds like it was built by the devil himself, drives like it reads your mind, and turns every single head on the road without even trying. Now open your eyes, because that car is right here, right now. This is the 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you're either going to want one desperately or you're going to be deeply jealous of everyone who has one. Let's get into it. So let's start with something that you literally cannot ignore with this car, the sound. The moment you fire up this flat six engine, something happens to you. It's not just a sound, it's a feeling. That classic Porsche boxer engine growl hits different in the GTS because Porsche has tuned the exhaust specifically for this model. It's deeper, it's more aggressive, and when you put your foot down and that engine spins up to its 9,000 RPM redline, the sound coming out of those quad exhausts is genuinely one of the best things you will ever hear in your life. At low speeds, it's a calm, sophisticated purr, the kind that makes people in traffic look over and wonder what that is. But push it hard, go wide open throttle, and it transforms into this absolutely savage scream that gives you goosebumps every single time. Porsche didn't just build an engine here, they built an instrument. Now under the hood, this GTS is running a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged flat-six engine, producing 532 horsepower and 449 pound-feet of torque. That is a massive jump over the standard Carrera S, and you feel every single one of those extra horses the moment you press the accelerator. The GTS sits right below the turbo in Porsche's lineup, which makes it this incredibly sweet spot. You get performance that is absolutely savage without crossing into territory where the car starts to feel like it's fighting you. It's fast, it's responsive, but it never feels intimidating. It feels exciting. 0 to 60 happens in just 2.9 seconds with the PDK gearbox, and the top speed sits at 194 miles per hour. Those are supercar numbers dressed up in a sports car body. Speaking of the Carrera 4 part of the name, this thing has all-wheel drive, and it makes a massive difference. Porsche's intelligent AWD system sends power to all 4 wheels when needed and pulls it back to rear-wheel drive when you're cruising. What that means in real life is that this car is incredibly planted in corners, hugely confident in the wet, and just so much more accessible for everyday driving. You can throw this thing into a corner in conditions that would terrify you in other cars, and it just grips, rotates, and shoots out the other side like it's on rails. The all-wheel drive here doesn't dull the driving experience at all. If anything, it just adds another layer of confidence that makes you want to push harder. Let's talk about how it drives overall, because this is where the 911 GTS really earns its reputation. Porsche has fitted this car with their PASM sport suspension as standard. That's their adaptive damping system that reads the road continuously and adjusts in real time. There's also rear-wheel steering on the 2026 model, which makes the car feel smaller and more agile than it has any right to be. At low speeds, the rear wheels steer slightly opposite to the fronts, which tightens up the handling and makes parking surprisingly easy for a sports car. At high speeds, the rear wheels steer in the same direction as the fronts, which makes the car feel incredibly stable and planted. The result is a car that feels almost telepathic, like it knows exactly what you want before you even ask for it. The PDK gearbox deserves a special mention here. This is one of the best dual-clutch transmissions ever made, full stop. In automatic mode, it shifts so smoothly you barely feel it. In manual mode, using the steering wheel paddles, it's lightning fast. We're talking millisecond shifts that slam you back in your seat with every upchange. There's also an 8-speed PDK option on the 2026 GTS, and the extra gear just makes the whole experience feel even more refined at motorway speeds while keeping the aggression when you need it. Now step inside and the experience completely changes. The interior of the 2026 911 Carrera 4 GTS is a masterclass in driver-focused design. Everything is angled towards the driver. The center console, the screens, the controls. It all wraps around you in a way that feels intentional and purposeful. Porsche has fitted the GTS with their Sport Seats Plus as standard, and these things are brilliant. They hold you firmly in place through corners, but they're genuinely comfortable on a long motorway drive. You don't have to choose between comfort and performance here, because Porsche figured out how to give you both. The dashboard is dominated by the 10.9-inch central touchscreen running Porsche's latest infotainment system, and it's genuinely good. It's quick, it's intuitive, and it integrates Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. But here's what I love about Porsche. They haven't removed all the physical buttons. You still have real buttons and dials for the most important things, like the drive mode selector, the volume, and the driving dynamics. In a world where every other manufacturer is hiding everything in a touchscreen, Porsche has kept the stuff you actually want to touch during a drive accessible at your fingertips. The GTS also gets a GT Sport steering wheel as standard, a flat-bottomed Alcantara-wrapped wheel that looks incredible and feels even better in your hands. The GTS specific interior details are worth mentioning too. You get Alcantara on the steering wheel, gear selector, and door panels. The Sport Chrono package is standard, which adds a physical stopwatch on top of the dashboard. A nod to Porsche's motorsport heritage that never gets old. The ambient lighting has been upgraded, the seat stitching gets GTS badging, and there's a real attention to detail throughout that makes you feel like every part of this cabin was thought about carefully. This isn't just a car interior, it's a place you actually want to spend time. On the technology front, the 2026 GTS comes loaded. You get Porsche's night vision assist, adaptive cruise control with lane keeping, a Bose or Burmester sound system depending on your spec, a head-up display, and Porsche's latest safety and driver assistance suite. The GTS also gets Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus with a fully variable rear differential, which works alongside the all-wheel drive to make the handling feel even more precise and controllable. These aren't just tech features for the spec sheet. Every single one of them genuinely adds to the experience of driving this car. And look, the 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS is not a cheap car. You're looking at a starting price in the region of $175,000, and options can push that well north of $200,000. But here's the thing. When you sit in it, when you hear it, when you drive it, the price starts to make complete sense. This isn't just transportation. This is one of the most complete, most exciting, most emotionally satisfying cars on the planet. The sound alone is worth the price of admission. The way it drives is something you will never forget. And the way it looks, that classic 911 silhouette that has barely changed in 60 years, but still looks more modern than almost anything else on the road, is genuinely timeless. The 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS is the car for people who want everything. The performance, the sound, the luxury, the technology, and the all-weather confidence of all-wheel drive, all wrapped up in one of the most iconic shapes in automotive history. This is as good as it gets.